Okay. Good evening. Welcome. This is the Red Hook Town Board meeting of January 27th. Would you be kind enough to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, for which it
to the
stands,
republic for
one
which it
nation,
stands,
one nation,
under
under God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty
justice for all.
and justice
justice
for all.
Okay, thank you very much. We were not in sync then, and I take responsibility for that. But I hope everyone is well. Happy 2021 again to all of you at home. We're going to show you, as we always do, the agenda for tonight's meeting. This is the second meeting of the month. And there we go. We'll do a screen share. Bear with me. Okay. For the folks at home, typically for the second meeting of the month, we have reports from our committees and departments and anything that is of a time-sensitive nature. We're also continuing to work on our reorganization, and we'll be discussing a recommendation very briefly that we had from our highway superintendent with regard to potentially installing no parking signs, and obviously we would create a local law to that effect near the intersection of Route 9 and Metzger Road. We're also going to discuss prohibiting not only tobacco and vaping products from our rec parks, but from all of our town-owned and operated facilities. And then again, just the board reports and department reports that we have and the committee reports. And with that, we can go right into announcements. I just wanted to give a very brief update on COVID and vaccines. We'll have this information on our website, but to know that there are different buckets of vaccine deployment that are being enacted throughout New York State. It's generally split between the state and local government, and in this case, the county. Lately, we've been getting about 1,200 or 1,300 doses per week, split between those two entities. And separate and apart from that is follow-up vaccines for the healthcare workers, which are being done at hospitals. As you may or may not know, there are a few pharmacies south of the county, Rite Aid, that do have an allotment, a very small allotment, and you can make arrangements directly with them. But there are two places that you can sign up: New York State Department of Health. You can also sign up with Dutchess County, their delivery, and you can be notified when sign-ups take place each week. For this week, it was yesterday at 4 o'clock, and those 600 doses were filled up within just a few minutes. If you've been following the news coming out of Washington, there was an announcement and Albany that there'd be a 16% increase in the number of doses, not only in the next week, but in the 3 weeks upcoming, and that there's hope that most Americans will have the opportunity to get vaccinated by the summertime. So more information and details on our website. Also, the number of COVID cases has started to come down, not only in our local area, but New York State and the US as a whole. That double spike that happened because of the two holidays seems to be declining a little bit. And also now we're starting to see people get their vaccinations. So the hope is that there will be a continued decline. But once again, we would, of course, implore all of you to take the necessary precautions for everyone's health and safety, and also so that we can continue to support our economy and our local businesses, which are going through sort of their second round, if you will, of very difficult times right now. So that's all I have for announcements, but our town clerk, Deanna Cochran, would like to speak to you very briefly about what's new this year as it relates to property taxes and collection. So Deanna, would you take it away? Your volume.
Deanna, you're muted.
You're muted, Deanna.
Do that all the time. Okay. So we have a lot of options. We sent out our tax bills on Friday. So we've had a lot of calls and people have actually been paying. So our options this year, we talked about the online payment that has a big link right on the front of our redhook.org page. So once you get in there, the directions are clear, pay your bill online. There are two options, credit card payment, which is a, one option. And then we also have the e-check, but right at this moment tonight, it's down for maintenance. So it doesn't show on the website, but by the time this meeting goes, to the public, possibly it will be up there. I really hope. We're working on it. So the fees just are third-party convenience fees for online payment. And those fees are for credit card, it's 2.65% and a transaction fee of $3.50. This is a third-party convenience fee, just so that you can pay online. Red Hook has nothing. We don't receive any money on that. And then for an e-check, it's a flat payment of $2, and that's great. So we've gotten a lot of payments already. It seems to be running smooth. The other thing that we have new this year is Red Hook, the town of Red Hook's taking up a lockbox with our M&T Bank at their headquarters in Buffalo. So therefore, the tax bill does say mail to town of Red Hook and PO Box 1655 Buffalo, New York 14240 1655. And there have been a lot of questions, and because people think it's an error and also are concerned about sending their tax bills to Buffalo. And, it's actually a very safe and secure way to pay your taxes. We aren't discouraging dropping them off in the drop box at all in the front door. We are accepting them that way as well. And, we're also available for any questions if you are concerned. We can go over that, that option, whatever option's easiest for you. So it's, they're all safe and secure. So far, they've been running smoothly. And like I said, we're available for any questions if you have any questions.
Good. Very good. Thank you very much, Deanna. And if people want to call your line, it's 758-4606.
Yes, and it's on the bill too. Yeah.
Terrific. Thanks very much, Deanna.
Thanks again for getting that up and running, Deanna.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see people are using it.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a lot of people have used it.
It's very brave of you to do this in your first year, and so we appreciate it. I know there's a joke in there somewhere to tell people they're not being buffaloed, but I won't say it. Okay, very good. Why don't we dive right into, we don't have any public comments. We did have a couple of outstanding questions from questions that I believe Linda Keeling had. She wanted an update on the electric vans, and for the folks at home, the electric vans are being constructed right now. It's looking like they won't be completed until about May or June. It's taking a lot longer with COVID, but that gives us the time, hopefully, to put a plan and a program in place so that when they do arrive, that we'll know exactly what we're doing with them, hopefully. Okay. Reorganization. So, town board members. Let's see. We are going to work on, let's see, we're losing one of our town board members going in and out on the Zoom. Technology is great when it's working. Do we have you there? Bill Hamill, do we have you?
Hey, Robert.
There you are, you're back. Okay, Bill.
I still can't get on my computer. I don't know why. I'm on my phone.
Okay. Well, we've got you. No worries.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Okay. All right. So reorg. So town board members, do you have your list? Have you had any correspondence from any committees or departments we can update and add to our list?
I heard from the LWRP committee, and everybody is ready to stay on that and get reappointed as necessary. It's not everybody right now, but.
Okay. I see they're all good through 2021. The only one is Chair Paula Schoonmaker, and I think
she's willing to stay on as chair.
Great. So why don't we do that motion? Would you like to make it, Christine, to make Paula Schoonmaker the chairperson for a term ending 2021?
So moved.
I will second that. All in favor, Jacob? Bill Hamill?
Aye.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you very much.
We heard from Lori for the Conservation Advisory Council.
Thank you.
To reappoint everybody who's up for that this year. So that would be for the chair, that'd be Lori Husted. That would include as members Susan Ellis, Stephen Appenzeller, Julia Solomon, and Leah Steinberg. So I would move to reappoint all of them to the Conservation Advisory Council.
Great, and I would second that. Any further discussion? If not, Christine?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
I did get a couple of responses on the water board.
Oh, good.
Larry Carr and Jerry Gilnick want to stay on, although according to the list, it makes it look like they were good through this year, or does that mean that they were supposed to expire this year?
Well, hopefully they're not expiring, but their term is good through 2021. We have them updated through 2021, Bill.
Okay. Yeah, and then
Hank as chair.
That have not. Yeah, and he's good. I heard from him. Have not heard from Nick.
Nick Annis. Okay.
From Nick Annis, and Ablin Amrod has been communicating about some other issues with us, but he never answered the question about, because he's expiring. He expired last year.
His term did, yeah.
His term did. So I'll check in with him again. I mean, he's been involved with some email chains on some other issues with the water board.
Okay. Okay, why don't we go ahead then and make a motion to reappoint Hank Van Paris as the chairperson with the term ending in 2021, Vice Chair Jerry Gilnack with a term ending in 2021, and I think that takes care of it. Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Christine. All in favor, Jacob?
Aye.
Okay.
I think you also have Hank's position, if I'm reading this correctly, expired at the end of December. So you.
That's correct. Yeah. So let's add Hank Van Paris for a term ending in 2022. So I'll amend that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. All in favor, Christine?
Aye.
Jake?
Aye.
Okay, so let's see what we have here. I still haven't heard anything back. Ag and open space. Assessment Review Board, we need to get a new member there. I think we're good on CPF with the exception of Marianne Johnson and Ken Migliarelli. So I'd like to make a motion that we reappoint Marianne Johnson and Ken Migliarelli to terms ending in 2022. And as part of that motion, reappoint Marianne as the chairperson. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, Jacob
Aye.
and Bill.
Aye.
I think we still have, we better check in with Brent, make sure he wants to stay on. We'll look for that at our next meeting. Okay, disaster preparedness, we're looking good there. I think that's all we have. Oh, Greenway and Trails. Have we heard anything on Greenway and Trails? Jacob, is that yours?
No, that's
No.
me. I haven't heard anything yet.
Okay. Okay, let's reach out to them. Let's see if at our next meeting we could sort of wrap this up. I know that we have we still have a couple of committees that we need to reappoint some members to. In addition to that, we're going to go into executive session and discuss the temporary appointment or appointment of a temporary building inspector. And we'll come out of that executive session and make that appointment as well. Okay, anything else with reorg, folks, or shall we move right on to employee health care plan? Okay, why don't we do that? Agenda item number 2. Each year we go through the many available options for healthcare, vision, and dental for our employees. I think we've had the same plan now for the last maybe 3 or 4 years, if memory serves me. Did you have a chance to take a look at these plans, and did you have some thoughts about them relative to the current plan that we have? Okay.
I did look through them, and I didn't see any big reasons that we would want to move from the one that we have.
Right. Yeah, one that struck me as something to consider is the CDPHP EPO might provide some savings to the town. The problem with that, it's a copay first one, is that it doesn't necessarily match the desires of the employees. I know that the copays and deductibles are a feature that they really appreciate, but it is quite a bit more affordable. So, maybe not for this year, but let's take a look at it again next year to see how that compares. It has very good coverage as well, and it's local, right? Capital District, physician-run plan. Any other?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly and you can see from the document, we had a lot of proposed options to look at, but then we really start to dive into it and you compare, there's the premiums and then there's the changes to the deductibles. So that's, that can be a very big impact for our employees.
Right.
So that's why I was saying
The savings on that one is for the town only about $18,000. It's not chump change, but it's not a massive savings.
I think it makes sense to stay with the current one this year and then to, reevaluate maybe next time around.
Good. Yep. Let's see what we can work out with respect to premiums and so on and so forth. But given that it's a desire to focus on copays and deductibles for the employees, I would recommend that we stick with this one. This is frankly the one that accomplishes that the best. And like we've already said, we'll revisit it again next year. So if that's okay with everybody, I would make a motion that we continue with our MVP Silver 8.
Second.
Right. Thank you very much, Christine. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, Jacob Testa,
Aye.
Bill Hamill.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay. Agenda item number 3 is we received a letter from our highway superintendent, Teresa Burke, who was responding to complaints that her office received with regard to the intersection of Route 9 and Metzger Road. The Better Lives Animal Hospital is on the corner, the northern corner of the intersection, and even though they have dedicated parking behind the building, it sounds like their customers and delivery people have been parking on the shoulder of Metzger Road in order to use the front entrance, and this is creating a potentially dangerous situation with parked vehicles in the roadway. And she's been in discussion with the business owner, and there's an expression to perhaps establish a no parking zone on both sides of the road there as it approaches Route 9. And so, I would recommend that we consider this suggestion and ask our highway super for a little bit more with regard to starting and an ending marking that she's interested in, and also refer this to our engineering firm that has expertise in these types of questions. Once we are, in contract with our new firm that is focused on transportation issues. So that would be my recommendation. Any thoughts, folks? Any other thoughts, I should say?
Oh, it sounds like a good approach to me.
Okay.
Agreed.
And then Chris Shaw, we would need to establish some type of local law in order to accomplish this if we were interested in doing so.
Yeah, very briefly, we have local laws that control certain parking restrictions. So we would just have to amend that to add this as an additional item.
Okay. And then we would need to decide if we make it specific to this one location, or if we fashion it in such a way that it can be added to or not.
Yeah, well, I think that would take some further discussion in terms of how you would put constraints around that.
Okay.
So the simpler thing to do is to add it to the existing list. But if you want to do something broader than that, then we would need to just determine what the parameters of that would be.
Okay, great. Very good. All right, we're moving right along, folks. We're going to discuss the prohibition of tobacco or products, including vaping, not only at our town parks and recreational facilities, but at all of our facilities. Years ago, back in May of 2013, the town adopted a non-smoking policy at the parks, and the question has become whether or not we want to both expand it to all our town facilities. So that would be here outside of town hall, also at the recycling center, and whether or not we want to just clearly mention vaping, because that is becoming an issue. We've had many instances of vaping at our recreation park. So some thoughts. We also have some signs that Deanna, some signs that'll be provided to us if we want to display them at our facilities, and they come courtesy of Tobacco-Free Action Communities. What's the name of the organization, Deanna?
Hudson Valley Health Alliance. They're over in Lake Katrine.
Very good. So town board members, do you have some thoughts about whether or not you'd like to expand this prohibition to include all of our owned and operated facilities?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, we already have a no smoking policy in place. So it would be number one, adding vaping. And then the other part would be expanding it to, like you were saying, St. Margaret's. We didn't have St. Margaret's then. So all town facilities.
Yeah.
So I'd be in favor of that.
I think it's a good idea. The public purpose, protecting the public against secondhand smoke, for example, court night, if it's very crowded. Now, obviously, we haven't had in-person court for some time, but oftentimes the parking lot can be quite full. And we see a lot of cigarette butts on the ground at the conclusion of court night. And that indicates to us that in a very sort of compressed area, that there's potential for the public to be at risk. So
I guess my only question is, I'm in favor of prohibiting it, but do we have some established consequences for those who choose to disregard it?
yeah. So Chris, do you want to talk about some of the options there?
Well, right now there are existing prohibitions and the New York State and Dutchess County regulations. If you wanted to do more than establish a policy, are you thinking in terms of a fine?
Yeah, I guess my sense is telling people they can't do something without having consequences. Sometimes, it's a nice policy approach, but sometimes in a situation like this, when you're really talking about issues of public health, and there are people who are actually deathly allergic to cigarette smoke and those and nicotine exhaust, it seems to me that we have to at least have some kind of table of penalties, starting with a verbal, you can't do that, to some ability to cite somebody with a summons.
So that, I think, would require more than a policy. It would require at least a local law, I would think.
Okay.
If you're going to impose sanctions.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that makes sense, Bill, what you're saying. Without enforcement, is it going to get us where we want to be? So maybe we can consider a local law. In the meantime, do we want to take up a resolution? I know that Christine, you've prepared something for us. Kushal, you've prepared something for us.
Yeah, just briefly to add to the existing resolution, the all town properties, and to identify smoking and vaping as defined in the public health law as included within this prohibition. It's fairly simple, but it ties into the more extensive description of smoking and vaping that's in the public health law, so that there's some consistency there.
Okay.
That is, for your information, smoking means the burning of a lighted cigar, cigarette, pipe, or any other matter or substance which contains tobacco or marijuana as defined in section 3302 of this chapter. And then vaping means the use of an electronic cigarette, which is defined as an electronic device that delivers vapor, which is inhaled by an individual user, et cetera. So that's the definition that this is referring to. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in favor of passing this resolution. Others?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Terrific. Well, why don't we take it up? Deanna, this is resolution number
8.
Number 8 of 2021. It's a resolution regarding tobacco-free public properties in the town, and it expands upon the efforts back in 2013 to declare certain areas as tobacco-free zones. And I so move. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Christine. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, Jacob Testa?
Aye.
Bill Hamel?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you very much, folks. And then we'll take up, in the near future, Bill, we'll take up the idea of passing a local law in order to ensure that we have some enforcement mechanism. But for now, let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thanks, folks. We're going to move right into board reports at this point. And we have with us for the first one, I think we have a water district report. Bill Hamel, would you like to do that while I try to put the document up on the screen?
Sure, certainly. So I have I have a few months. We haven't been meeting because of the weather, haven't been able to meet outside, but there have been some discussions about issues. Basically, the first page of the report lays it out. We're pumping at a good rate. The water, there's no chloroform. The water's testing well. Things are going well. The only issue of discussion that has been talked about is whether or not we want to have meters replaced, and what's the efficiency of doing that. And because it's not cheap. So there has to be some economy to having meters replaced. And so for now, the board basically agrees that we'll keep going until we start to have any issues with the meters having any failures. The newer meters are more precise and could give a better reading, and they don't have to be read as often. Plus they're wireless, and there's all kinds of nice technological gadgetry involved. But the cost right now doesn't seem to justify taking that initiative. So for now, everything seems to be fairly copacetic with the water district, all the sort of normal routine maintenance things going on, getting rid of poison ivy on fences and things of that nature, but nothing really to discuss.
Okay. Very good. It looks like the water test results look very good.
Yeah, that's the first thing I look at. The water is very good.
Yeah. Super. Okay. And as you mentioned, that's a couple months worth of reports. Bill, while we have you, do you want to talk to us about the monthly dog control reports? And I'll try to scroll through this link.
Sure. So we got a report for December, which is really a year-end cap report. which kind of goes through the various months and then the year to date on how that looks. And, obviously the vast majority of what the SPC is dealing with is wildlife or feral cats. They did have an incident in November was quiet. There was a stray dog, but there was an incident in December where there was a dog that from Rhinebeck that attacked a dog from Red Hook somewhat severely and injuring its owner as well. And I'm trying to get some more information about whether they're going to file dangerous dog paperwork or not. And SPCA is working with both the parties. So I'm trying to get some more information about, what they're planning on doing about that. So really, that's really the only major thing that's come up.
And where did that incident take place?
I don't know. I'm trying to get that information.
Okay. All right.
But for the year, I mean, I think it's good to see that for the year, there were basically a total of 25 calls. So it's basically twice a month. And on the dangerous dog, which is really the main issue that I have the most concern about, there were 3 incidents across over the year. There've been a couple loose dogs that they've corralled and things of that nature. But it's a lot of wildlife. Seems to be the majority of what they're responding to.
Thanks, Bill. I imagine it's a little quieter with many people at home.
Yes, I would think so. But people let the dog out to go to the bathroom, and sometimes they get out of their fence or whatever, and things can happen.
All right. And Deanna, did you want to talk to the folks about licensing and renewal of licensing?
Yes. Licensing, we send out renewals monthly. People should really get their dogs licensed. I've had a few people come to the town hall because the SPCA has their dog and the dog doesn't have a license. So if it's a weekend, they won't get their dog back if they don't have a license. So I really encourage it. People think that they don't, it doesn't really go out, but you never know. So I recommend it.
Okay. Very good. All right. I can give the assessor's report for the month. They've processed and mailed out all of the exemption forms. Renewals are due March 1st, 2021. And due to COVID-19, we continue to suggest either mailing back the renewals or use our drop box outside the town building. At the front of the building, there's a little slot you can put your paperwork through, and we'll turn it around in most cases within 24 hours. Due to the governor's executive order, the office did not send out the senior low income and disability exemption renewals for 2021. That was based upon a law that was enacted or an order that was enacted just a few weeks ago. And those exemptions will continue for this upcoming year unless there's information to let the assessor know that they no longer apply to a particular property. We are working with Real Property Services to ensure that our level of assessment is within the market. And with the month of November, and this is an older report here, the Village of Red Hook had 7 sales, and there were 8 sales within the town. And the assessor would like to once again thank all of the departments for their support. Okay, Bill, we're back to you again with building and zoning. We don't have Bill O'Neill with us tonight. And so I wonder if you could fill in. You've been
So, yeah, the first page really kind of says it all. For January, they issued 20 permits. They did 20 inspections. There were 7 COs issued and 17 searches, which is, I guess, doing land searches. So the total revenue for the building department for the month was 10,266. Of all the permits, I think there were 26 permits from the last month. Only one was commercial, all the rest were residential. So it appears that most of the work that's being done are home improvements. There's one house being built on Fellow Newmark Road that's, requires a lot of inspection work and things of that nature. But it is the winter, and so things are a little quieter than they were over the summer and fall.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. Yes, it's been a busy fall. As folks are stuck at home, they've decided to make some improvements if they can and desire to. All right, we have a court report. Now I'm going to make the folks at home busy. I apologize. We're going to scroll through all those permits. All right. We're going to get there. Close your eyes. Okay. As you know, the courts are not operating in person. They are working remotely. It's been a particular challenge for the court system to both conduct their business and to ensure due process. And so the activity has started to pick up a little bit. They have dealt with 216 VNT cases and 42 penal, 3 civil, and a couple of miscellaneous with respect to Judge Treebwasser's court and Judge Mansfield. 252 VNT cases, 16 penal, 2 civil, and 3 small claims for the year. The court has received approximately $42,000 towards its operations. And that's what we have for their annual report. Jacob, would you be kind enough to give us the Highway Department report for the end of the year?
Yeah, can you scroll down just a little bit, Robert? Because I know there's more below that.
I'm happy to.
Perfect, thank you. So the Highway Department in 2020 installed or reinstalled 80 signs in compliance with MUTCD regulations, installed a total of 220 feet of culvert pipe in 4 locations on town roads, mowed the equivalent of 120 miles of road shoulders, cut, chipped up and removed 40 dead trees, performed vehicle repairs in-house, swept town roads of excess sand and debris over 5 weeks in the spring, cold patched potholes on 150 town roads, cut and chipped roadside brush on 23 town roads, ground numerous tree stumps at 8 locations throughout the town, contracted capital improvement paving for Aspinwall Road, Alder Street, and Knox Road, contracted oil and stone chip seal resurfacing for Whalesback Road and Pitcher Lane, and paved Wildy Road with town paver and highway department crew. So a lot going on over the course of 2020.
Great. Thank you very much, Jacob.
Thanks to the highway crew.
Yeah, thank you very much. They're going to be busy. Looks like we've got a few more, hopefully smallish storms coming up in the next week or 2. All right. Bill is not here to give us the monthly police report. Would you like to do that, Christine?
Sure. We have a couple of months of reports. So for October, there were 109 incidents, 3 arrests, and 29 tickets issued. And then in November, to get down to the end of that page. It was 120 incidents during the month, 2 arrests and no tickets.
Okay. Very good. And here are some of the actions that they attend to. This is the part of the community we don't often have a good sense of just what's going on. That doesn't affect us personally, but we do get monthly reports from the police department on their activities. Very good. So and that was 2 months you gave us there, Chris?
Yep, October and November is what we had.
Okay. Very good. All right, we are making our way. Greenway and Trails. Would you like to also do that, Christine?
Yeah, that's me, and there's really no report because there was no meeting.
Okay. All right, there's a report from the Recreation Commission. Could I ask you to give that, Christine? Would you mind?
Sure, and why don't I lump in or put all together the St. Margaret's and the cemetery report also, because Bill O'Neill's not here. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, and basically, as you can see, as if Robert scrolls through the pages of the report, there, once again, our rec department does a tremendous amount of work. We have a great team there, and they are managing and maintaining all 3 of those properties that I just mentioned: the Rec Park East, Rec Park West, the Red Church Cemetery, St. Margaret's Home, the Red Hook Town Hall property itself. So they do get a tremendous amount of work done. As you might imagine, towards the end of the season, there was a lot of work on end of season cleanup and shutting down the water fountains and the restrooms, and making sure all the signage that we wanted to be put up was done. Working at all the properties, actually dealing with some tree issues, some things that had, some tree branches and parts of trees that were that already come down or that were needed to come down. So they've either been handled or plans have been made to handle them. We still are having, we're having some issues with late night party activities at the Rec Park East. So hopefully when we get all the new security things in place, we can get a better eye on that and work on the equipment for the winter and the new shed garage that had been ordered for some of the new equipment and storage that was going to be out behind the new field, the Challenger field. That was what came in and has been actually installed in a different spot when it finally came down to it, to have more access and better security over the building, the location. Again, still working on fixing some of the sunken graves at the cemetery. There still is work on the fencing to be done out there at the cemetery. A lot has been done already. And one of the biggest items, I guess you could say, still remaining at Rec Park East is the big pile of dirt that was a result of a lot of the work this past year. And so we're going to use some of it at the different parts over at Red Park West and some of the other properties, but there still will be a lot of it that will have to be moved in the spring so that the entire parking lot, particularly what's supposed to be the bus parking area in Breck Park East parking lot, will be available again.
Good. Thank you very much. For the folks at home, if you have not been to the Red Church Cemetery, you'll see some of the amazing work that John and the crew have been doing there. We're very proud of all the stuff that they're doing. The cemetery and the buildings haven't looked better that I can think of. And we really appreciate all that they're doing. We have a lot of talent here in the town of River. Okay, Jacob, tree preservation. Just
I'll let you get down to it. This one's pretty brief.
Okay. Just so folks know how lengthy.
There's a lot of work going on in that rec department. That is for sure.
We want you to know. Here we go, and there's a very short tree conservation commission.
Like I said, it's brief. So there are plans for the spring 2020 tree planting that are being made. There have been emails going back and forth about that. So John Kuhn has been contacted to discuss the possibility of planting several trees at the new rec park parcel. Then there are options for a virtual Arbor Day celebration in late April that are being considered. The most recent issue of the Tree City newsletter contains a list of suggestions, because I know that some of the Arbor Day stuff was, basically all the Arbor Day stuff was canceled last year. So this is an opportunity to celebrate it in a way that we didn't quite do last year. So that's it for the Tree Preservation Commission.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. I think that concludes all of our board and committee reports. At this time, I would like to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss.
Robert, excuse me, Mr. Supervisor, did you have a grant resolution you wanted to consider?
Thank you. Yes, I forgot about that, didn't I? So we had a last minute addition, which is not on the agenda. Thank you, Chris, for reminding me. About a year and a half ago, we applied for a feasibility study grant to look at the potential to extend the village central sewer down here into our commercial corridor. We've had expressions of interest, potentially from at least a couple of the larger landowners. And so we wanted to apply for a grant, which we did back in, I think it was June of 2018. There's another round of funding coming up. And so we thought we would have another crack at it and do an updated resolution. So let me see if I can get that up here for you. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, it's a resolution authorizing an application for an engineering grant. And it's through the Environmental Facilities Corporation. And it's for an amount of $30,000 of the grant fund. So in total, the project would be $36,000. There's a 20% match. And
Robert, we're still seeing the other agenda items.
oh, you are. Sorry. Okay, let's do the stop share and start share.
There we go. Thank you.
Oh, thanks very much. So this is the carbon copy. I think it has a little bit more explanation, but it's a carbon copy of otherwise of a resolution we had back in 2018. And the hope is now that the central sewer has been green lighted, we might be potentially, we might get this grant. So, folks, shall we do it? Resolution number 9. I so
Moved.
Okay, Christine, you got in there before me. I'll second your motion. It's authorizing the application for a feasibility grant. And any further discussion? Jacob Testa, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Bill Hamill.
Aye.
Thank you, Bill. I know, Bill, you're going to be excited if we get this grant.
Yes. Be very happy.
Okay, that's all I have. So going back to, for the folks at home, we're going to go into executive session to discuss the potential of hiring a particular individual for a temporary position. We'll be back at the conclusion of our conference phone call. And you're welcome to hang on, and if we take action, we'll be back with that action. At this time, I'd like to thank you all for joining us, and our next regularly scheduled meeting, although we may have a special meeting in between, but our next regularly scheduled meeting is Tuesday, February 9th. Okay, thank you very much. I have a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, Christine
Aye.
and Jacob?
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Robert.
We have everybody? I believe we do. We're back. We have exited the executive session. At this time, I'd like to reopen the meeting. It's 9:04. In doing so, I would like us to take a look at resolution number 10, dated January 27th, 2021. It's a resolution authorizing the appointment of inspector for the building department. And it speaks to section 73.3 of the town code, where one or more inspectors may be appointed by the town supervisor with the approval of the town board to act under the supervision and direction of the building inspector for the purposes described in such section. And so we are now entertaining the appointment of Jason Beeman to the part-time position of inspector for all of the purposes described above. And he will also concurrently be appointed as a deputy to the zoning enforcement officer. And this is a temporary placement, probational at the time. And I so move. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jake. Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, Christine Kane
Aye.
and Bill Hamill.
Aye.
Good. Okay, folks, that's all I have tonight. Does anybody else have anything this evening? Okay. Thanks very much, everyone at home. Please stay healthy, and if there's anything we can do to assist you, let us know. Have a good evening.
Thank you.